Good morning and welcome to today's pre-US Open market update from Time Price Analysis. This is being recorded just over 90 minutes before the opening of the US stock markets on Tuesday, the 28th of May. Okay, so 3-day break. Not a lot has changed from the weekend. In fact, nothing has changed rather from the weekend update. Let's start with this 4-hour chart of the ES. And off the high, we have the 5 down for the A wave, a WXY back for the B wave, which is most likely complete. Now, until we take out the 2805.75 low, we can't absolutely be sure of that. That can be an A wave, all of this a B back, and we can go higher all the way to 29.22. So just bear that in mind. But it looks more likely to me that we've got the A wave in, sorry, the B wave in, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to last week's low, and that this is all part likely of a 2 back up to around the 28.50 to 28.60 area before we get a 3, 4, 5 down to the 26.87 region. So just zooming in, what I'm looking for today is this. I'm looking for a move up during today's session. So there's the A down, B if it is in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then with A, B, C for a W that spiked through the 38.2, this sideways with the downside move this morning for what I think is an X wave, and then we get an A, B, C up, most likely I think to 28.60, then down hard from there. But what I'm looking for today is day trade long positions if this follows through. And if we start to push through these fibs, then we can go all the way up here for a higher B before we then resume the next leg down in the ES. So that's what I'm looking for. The other possibility, is the 2 is in here at the high we saw on Friday. I think it's unlikely. This looks more to me like an ABC down for an X wave, and we're going to come back up. I haven't taken any positions this morning pre-market. I want to wait till we get a bit of volume back in. We get the cash markets running after a 3-day break. But I am looking more likely up early on in or certainly the early part of today's session and early part of this week to the 28.60 with the possibility that we go higher, and then a much more significant decline after that in the ES. Okay, let's come over and look at CL this morning. And again, we're counting this B wave as in here, 5 wave move down as a contracting diagonal, then an A, B, C back for a 2, then this impulse move that I think is all part of a wave 3. So I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking for the 5 of 3 down, then the 4, 5. All of this for a wave 1 of a much, much bigger move to the downside. So after that, we should get a 3-wave move back. That gives us the swing entry once we've completed this move down. But we do need to see it a full 5 waves complete. At the moment, all we've got off the top is an A, B, C potentially, and even the C doesn't look complete to me. But I'm looking lower in CL in the during today's session. I think the 4, it should be, and if it wants to push a touch higher, 60.01. Above there, we have to start to question this count. So below 60.01, I'm looking for a move down to at least 54.11, possibly as low as 52.01, then a 4.5 after that to complete the initial move off the recent highs in CL. Coming over and looking at GC this morning. So I've just looking for that final 5th down, and bear in mind it's all a diagonal. So we've had the A wave in 5 waves, A, B, C back up to the 50% retrace. Looks to me like we've got a 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm looking for this to accelerate down today to complete this move, and I'm looking for a short term and possibly more swing long once we complete the next full 5-wave move to the downside in GC. But while we're below the 1287 that we saw last week, this can come immediately lower today. It would have to take out 1304.3 to suggest that we have got something else playing out in GC. NG, so let me just zoom this out to the 4-hour chart for a moment. So we've got this diagonal we're tracking off the B wave high, an A, B, C for the 1, A, B, C for the 2 back. We got short up here, and I'm tracking this A wave down here, of which I think we've got a 1, 2 in place. I'm looking for this to start to accelerate lower from here in NG. And if I just bring that then in off the wave 2, there's the next 5 down. A, B, C back to the 50% retrace. Need to get it back below 25.38 to confirm this 2's in, but I'm looking for the 3, 4, 5 down. Still short, still got the stops here, and looking lower in NG still. Okay, let's take a quick look at the European markets this morning. And I suggested to leave the day trading alone. That was a correct thing to do. They've been all over the show. FTSE, I'm looking for a move up to 74.35, possibly more. And then the next leg down in the UK FTSE. It's done nothing this morning to suggest otherwise. German DAX, I'm just looking for this final A, B, C down to around the 11.823, 11.778 as an A wave before we get a B wave back and then a C wave down. And again, it's done nothing this morning to suggest otherwise. While we're below 12 to 11, still looking for a last low and then a more significant pullback to the upside in the German DAX. Currencies this morning, so the US dollar held that 618 last week, just pushing up. I'm looking for a move over 98.37 on the way to 98.94 next in the US dollar. And the euro, while we're below this high over here at 11.26 area, then I'm looking at lower in the euro for the rest of the pattern down. Just follow the counts on the charts. Nothing's done anything to suggest other than this at the moment. Cable, I'm looking for the final 5 of 3, then a 4, 5 to complete the 1 of 3 down. Again, still short both these pairs, absolutely playing along. Now, the US dollar, Japanese yen, we took out this low this morning, and I think that's just a fifth of the 1. I think it's just the 1 extending, and now we're finally starting the 2. Bear in mind, we've got a 1, 2, 1, 2 off the top. So looking for a little push up and then for this to start to let go. Still short from much, much higher. Australian dollar, we're pushing up finally in what I think is the 4 in this diagonal. So still looking higher in the short term before we resume that last ABC structure to the downside to complete the much, much bigger downside pattern in Australian dollar. Now, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin took out the level that we were watching for some time and thus invalidating lower. So I was potentially looking for a last low in this 4. It looks like we're not going to get it, and that the low is in fact in December 2018. So I'm now looking a little higher in the 1 up as a 5-wave impulse move, and that's the 1 of this 5 here. So I'm looking for a 1, 2, then a 3, 4, 5, and all of this does project up to that 70,000 area in Bitcoin and possibly higher than that. So what we need to see next, if I come down to the daily chart, the suggestion earlier this year, we got this 5-wave move up and a pullback into a fib. The suggestion was to go long and stay long, and that's proved to be sound advice. It's now, I think we've completed a 3 up, 4, and we're getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an ending diagonal up to around the 10,581 area is what I'm looking for in Bitcoin, and then a 2 back. I'll give precise target regions for the 2 once we complete this now last 5th up in Bitcoin. And just fibbing that out on the lower time frames, off the 3, I think that's the top of the 3 there. There's the 4, ABC1, ABC2, AB, and I just need to squiggle up higher to complete the C of 3. Then we should get a relatively deep 4. We need to remain over 74.64 and get a final push up. That gives us a very, very clean extended 5-wave structure off the low that takes out the relevant levels, and therefore a high probability swing long trade for an enormous trade to the upside on the next pullback in Bitcoin. Ethereum, this can still be a 4, and the pattern off the low is nowhere near as clear. The only way I can count it is as a diagonal and we would be in the sea of 5 up here, but we do need to see more from Ethereum to prove that. And Ripple, ditto. Ripple's a serious mess off the of the August low last year. And I'm not convinced by Ripple in anywhere near as much as Bitcoin itself. So keeping an eye on both of those. TLT is just pushing that a little bit higher. I think all of this is the one of this 3. We're going to get a pullback at some point before we then move up more strongly. So still looking for a setup there in TLT in order to get long later on. Okay, that's what I've got this morning, and I will be back just before the opening bell.